Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadrama Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Shana Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudire nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. It's reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 17th chapter, entitled Punishment and Reward of Kali, text 29. Tam jigyasam abhipretya vihaya nirpalanchanam tatpadamulam shirasa samagad bhayavivalaha tam jigyamsum abhipretya vihaya nipalanchanam tatpadamulam shirasa samagad bhayavivalaha tam jigyamsum abhipretya vihaya nipalanchanam tatpadamulam shirasa samagad bhayavivalaha. Any Prabhuji's like to recite? Tam jighamsum abhipretya vihaya nipalanchanam tatpadamulam shirasa samagad. Tam jigamsum abhipretya Any of the Matajis like to read this verse? Vihaya nipalanchanam Word for word translation. Tam, him, jigyamsum, willing to kill, abhipretya, knowing it well, vihaya, leaving aside, nripalanchanam, the dress of a king, tadpadamulam, at his feet, shirasha, by the head, samagat, fully surrendered, bhaya viblaha, under pressure of fearfulness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So please hear the translation. When the personality of Kali understood that the king was willing to kill him, he at once abandoned the dress of a king and under pressure of fear completely surrendered to him, bowing his head. The royal dress of the personality of Kali is artificial. The royal dress is suitable for a king or a kshatriya. But when a lower class man artificially dresses himself as a king, his real identity is disclosed by the challenge of a bona fide kshatriya like Maharaj Parikshit. A real kshatriya never surrenders. He accepts the challenge of his rival kshatriya and he fights either to die or to win. Surrender is unknown to a real kshatriya. In the age of Kali, there are so many pretenders dressed and posed like administrators or executive heads. But their real identity is disclosed when they are challenged by a real kshatriya. Therefore, when the artificially dressed personality of Kali saw that to fight Maharaj Parikshit was beyond his ability, he bowed down his head like a subordinate and gave up his royal dress. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Śrī Caitanya-Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shivri Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshtaya Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Hare Krishna. So we're continuing this morning with reading Srimad Bhagavatam. This morning we were meant to have His Holiness Subhak Swami Maharaj with us, but he arrived quite late yesterday, so he wasn't able to make it to the class, and so we'll just, I'll try to discuss something that comes to mind, and then we can have many experienced devotees here who can share their realizations on this verse. So we're here, the personality of Kali. He was about to beat the bull, who was just standing on one leg. It says the bull had 4 legs that represent truthfulness, austerity, cleanliness, and daya, mercy. Tapa saucham daya satyam, a few verses before. And now it was only standing in one leg, which was truthfulness. And even that one leg, this personality of Kali was trying to destroy that leg. Now, so we understand that Parikshit Maharaj had drawn his sword and he was about to kill that personality of Kali. And immediately Kali, realizing that, understood that he was going to be killed and that he was not a real king, so he immediately surrendered to Parikshit Maharaj. So just some things that from Srila Prabhupada's purport, some things that came to mind. Srila Prabhupada talks about the qualities of a Kshatriya. So one of the qualities is that the surrender is unknown to a real Kshatriya. He fights either to die or win, which means a Kshatriya will either kill or he will be killed. There's no third option. Either he kills or he'll be killed. So Prabhupada gives this pastime of a king who belonged to the Muslim rulers under his the Mughals. So he fought a battle and he was defeated. So he came back home and he was knocking the door. Then his wife was at the door and said, "Who is this?" He said, "Oh, I am king, this is your husband." And she said, "No, it can't be." He said, What does that mean? I'm your husband. She said, "No, my husband is a Kshatriya. Either he will, when he's fighting the battle, he'll be killed, or he will win the battle and then he'll come back. And I have heard that my husband didn't win the battle. So this person outside the door cannot be my husband. Because that is the Kshatriya. He'll either be killed or he will kill or be killed." So we see that a real Kshatriya, in the past, kings like Parikshit Maharaj, they were all Raja Rishis. They were not just kings, but they were saintly kings. They were kings who were following the process of Dharma. And they would act according to these religious principles. And we can see here, Srila Prabhupada explains in the Kali, there are so many pretenders dressed and posed like administrators, executive heads. So we can see, the qualities, one is known according to the qualities. So we can see the qualities of the different administrators, the politicians we're seeing in the material world now. And from their actions, their activities, we can see whether they fulfill the characteristics of real Kshatriyas. And we can see that definitely they're not acting according to religious principles. They're not acting according to Dharma. With fine politicians, they'll do anything just to come into power. And when they come into power, it's for their own sense gratification, not for the spiritual benefit of their subjects. Srila Prabhupada says it's like a group of asses electing another ass to be their leader. So no one's following Dharma and they're electing someone else who is also not going to follow Dharma, although they are dressed as an administrator. And we can see from pastimes, Lord Ramchandra, there's the pastime with, after he became the king, with the dhobi, the washerman, and how he was criticizing Lord Ramchandra. And Lord Ramchandra immediately, he followed Dharma and he acted, he did something not anyone would do, and punishing his wife just because of the words of that washerman. He could have easily told the washerman, look, I'll give you some money, or try to bribe him, like current politicians would do. Just keep quiet because you'll spoil my reputation. But he didn't do that. He acted according to Dharma. So those were Raja Rishis. They'd follow. And so they're not pretenders or just dress like administrators in like the current day administrators. So now, so Kali is a personification of all sorts of sinful activities in this day. And he was posing as a king. And all those who are ignorant, they also trusted the king. And like now, everyone's trusting our administrators who are actually in a sense enabling us to do sinful reactions. I mean, you see so many slaughterhouses, liquor stores, and they're encouraging sinful reactions. And masses of people, we're ignorantly following them, thinking they're the real king, they're the real leaders. So there's Srila Prabhupada, he's very heavy with scientists. We've heard Srila Prabhupada criticizing rascals, criticizing the scientists. But why? Because whatever all these people do, whatever these leaders do, the so-called kings, the so-called leaders, of which scientists are one, all the common men, all the ignorant people will also follow them, thinking if they are doing that, or if they are saying it, then that must be correct, that must be right. So as Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, yad yat acharati shreshtas. So whatever these great personalities or these so-called leaders do, the common man will follow. It's like the blind leading the blind. So if the leaders go astray, then they lead everyone astray. So the leaders have great responsibility. And when this was happening, when the personality of Kali, he was beating the bull, the Saunakadi rishis, they were really angry. They were saying, what kind of king is Parikshit Maharaj? Why are you just standing? You should kill the Kali immediately. Why did he not kill all this? And they were so upset by this. They said, look, if it's not related to Krishna, stop speaking about these topics. Killing a bull was such a sinful activity. So if it's not related to Krishna, we don't want to hear about it. Please stop speaking. So how can this happen? Why didn't Parikshit Maharaj immediately kill Kali? So imagine the Shaunakadi rishis if they were here in our current day and age. Just one person is beating a bull, and they were getting so agitated and angry. In this day and age, there's so many slaughterhouses, so much of cow killing going on, so many sinful activities. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani, Gaurnitai Ki Jai. So that's the Saunakadi rishis. They were saying, why is he not? Because that's a Kshatriya. Kshatriya's duty was to protect Dharma. The minute the cow is being beaten, Parikshit Maharaj should have immediately killed Kali. But what did the personality of Kali do? The personality of Kali knew that King Parikshit was the real king. He was the protector of Dharma, and that Kali was not the real king. So he immediately surrendered to Parikshit Maharaj. And that's another quality of a Kshatriya. When someone surrenders to him, then he will not kill him. He will not take his life. So the minute Kali surrendered to Parikshit Maharaj could not kill him, because that was the principle. And actually, surrender means, there's a heavy connotation to it. Surrender means giving up. We understand there's 6 points of surrender. And it's Atma Nivedana, one of the points, the last point, which is complete surrender. You've given up yourself. So then that person's life already belongs to Parikshit Maharaj. So there's no need to kill him. He's already surrendered. So we see in the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra how Vibhishan surrendered to Lord Ram and Lord Ram completely accepted him. So this is a Kshatriya principle. If someone surrenders, then he cannot kill. So therefore he didn't kill the personality of Kali. And Kali accepted that it was beyond his ability. He knew that he was not the real king, and Parikshit Maharaj was the real king. So a few things that we can take home from this practically, practical application. We have, Prabhupada many times talks about the Kshatriya spirit and how a devotee should have a Kshatriya spirit. So there are many Kshatriya qualities, but one quality Prabhupada mentions here is a Kshatriya is one who is killed, or he'll kill or be killed. So in one sense, we can apply this to our devotional life. We can apply that Kshatriya spirit. So what are things that a devotee wants to kill? Hare Krishna. So a devotee wants to kill, one thing devotee wants to kill is material desires. We want to kill our material desires. And if we don't kill them, then what happens? We become killed, in a sense. We become overwhelmed by these material desires. So that's one thing that we want to kill. We want to kill material desires. If not, we become overwhelmed by material desires. And sometimes we become complacent. I'm sure Prabhupada, one devotee was telling Prabhupada, sometimes we're always Krishna conscious, but sometimes we fall into Maya. And Prabhupada said, no, you're always in Maya, and sometimes you fall into Krishna. So we have to kill our material desires. And how do we do this? How do we kill our material desires? I'm sure everyone is familiar with that, and everyone is practicing these principles of trying to overcome material desires. The basis of all of that is it's stated in Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Andhikar, Yahan Krishna Taha Nahi, Mayara Adhikar. So if Krishna is there, then Maya cannot exist. You can't be in light and darkness at the same time, right? Darkness is the absence of light. So the absence of Krishna is Maya. And Krishna in this day and age comes in the form of Kali Kali, Namarupi, Krishna Avatar. So Krishna comes in the form of the holy name. So by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra constantly, all the time, then we can overcome Maya. But then again, there are many other regulative principles or instructions that we got from the previous acharyas that teach us how to slowly overcome Maya, which we are all doing. We're all trying to follow the four regulative principles, or the four pillars of Dharma, the four legs of the bull. We're trying to follow these four regulative principles. We're trying to come to the mode of goodness. Mode of ignorance and mode of passion that's symptomized by unlimited material desire, laziness. So we're trying to come at least to the mode of goodness, which is following these four regulative principles, waking up early in the morning, taking a bath, chanting Hare Krishna on Mahamantra on beads, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada's books, being engaged in different services. And of course doing the 9 processes of devotional service, starting with Shravanam and Kirtanam. And all of this is done not alone, but in the association of devotees. So these are the ways that we can slowly overcome, kill these material desires. But this is not going to happen immediately. It takes a while. It's a slow process. But we keep doing it, and eventually we know that the process will work. And we've got lifetimes of material desires piled up, and it's not going to go away immediately. But by slowly practicing these devotional practices, we can slowly overcome these material desires. And sometimes you might find that it might seem like, oh look, I don't think we still have some material desires and nothing's happening. We're practicing all these things and we're trying to kill our material desires, but it's not completely going away. Has anyone felt that you still have material desires after doing? Okay, one honest person. I've got a lot of material desires. So we can see, but when you look, so one Prabhupada's disciple, he explained, sometimes when you look out of the plane, when the plane's flying, and you look in the clouds, it looks like you're not moving at all. You look like you're stuck in one place, right? It doesn't look like you've made any progress. But then if you look down and then you see, first there were small houses, you could see them bigger and they were getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and become like matchbox and then like a point. And then you realize, yes, the plane is moving. So similarly, how do we know we're killing off material desires slowly? We look back at our past, what we were like 10 years ago, what we were like 5 years ago. Is there any change? Is there any difference? Because overnight you can't get a mango is not going to ripen overnight. If you pluck an unripe mango, it's going to take some time. Or you plant a seed, you don't expect a mango tree to immediately grow and get ripe mangoes. It takes some time. But if you look back and you see what you were like 10 years ago, what you were like 5 years ago, and compared to that now, how much difference there is in your life, have your material desires reduced? So that's one way to see that, just to analyze ourselves, because sometimes we can get a bit discouraged saying that, I'm practicing for 10 years, 20 years, but I still have material desires. It's not going to go away that quickly, because this is lifetimes of impressions that we have. But by looking back, we can see how much change has happened, and it motivates us to continue with this path. And again, with the Kshatriya comparison, there's so many other qualities of a Kshatriya that we can utilize in Krishna consciousness. Now, a Kshatriya is not supposed to surrender, but we don't, so here, that's one principle here, that he says Kshatriya will kill or be killed, not surrender. But then the other point in Krishna consciousness, if we want to, Srila Prabhupada said, when one takes to Krishna consciousness, that person has declared a war against Maya. And we're just foot soldiers. We need to surrender to a commander. Without a commander, then the army is useless. You need a good commander. And then you have to surrender to the commander to take instructions from the commander. So we have our commander, Srila Prabhupada, a spiritual master. So that surrender is very important, surrendering to the commander before you go out and fight. So that surrender to the pure devotee of the Lord. And there's another. Srila Prabhupada says, he told some of the initial disciples that the problem is you're not so much afraid of Maya. It's true. Sometimes we think we're practicing devotional service, we're chanting, doing. Maya cannot touch us. But Prabhupada said, yes, because you're not so afraid of Maya. Because Maya can, if we become complacent at any moment, you just need a little small gap and Maya can come and attack us. The minute we're alone, the minute we're not in the association of devotees, even if it's for a day, 2 days, or we think I'll go out and meet some of my karmi friends. It's 1 day, or go for 2 days, visit someone. Within that period, 2 days, your mind, your consciousness can change a little bit. Because we think, oh, yeah, it's okay, I'm doing all my devotional practices, I'm protected. But the minute we let our guard down, Maya can easily come and attack us. So we've got to always be on our guard, so we shouldn't let our guard down. So let us try to, in the spirit of a Kshatriya, try to kill our material desires and not let them overwhelm us. It's not easy, but easy at the same time. If we're surrendered completely to the instructions of the spiritual master, by his mercy, we'll be able to win over the battle against Maya. So this was, these are just some of the things that came to mind. It was sort of a last minute notice. So there are many experienced devotees here. I request them to share their realizations on this verse or anything on this topic, or any comments. If there are any questions, I can attend. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, would you like to share?
So, just one thing I just want to add after going through that purport, that even though he was a Shudra, Kali, he dressed himself like a royal king. So, but when he realized that he is not of that caliber, he gave it up. So I just want to ask you, because we are also practicing devotees, we are not actually on the platform of pure devotional service. Actually, till and then we have some kind of the cheating propensity is always there, somewhere in subtle way, in a hidden form, it is there. But still externally, for the sake of the moment, we may take some seva, we may give class, we are in some managerial position where devotees are under us. So just how to understand it or balance it, or how, in what mood we have to, because that is need of the institution also is there. We cannot just no, I am not fit for it, we cannot just neglect like that. So just how to understand, maybe you can give some.
Or just some things that came to mind when you're talking about that. Not that I have in any, not too much experience in that, but so is this humility. We don't want to take any leadership position. Oh, Prabhu, I'm very fallen, I have no good qualities. So, but that's one humility, but that's not real humility. I think as Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur describes, is to voluntarily take inconvenience for the pleasure of the spiritual master. So if I don't want to do anything, I don't want to be a manager, I'm not qualified to do anything actually, any service to. But if the spiritual master says, you do that, if spiritual authority says, yes, you do that, then out of humility, just to follow that instruction, you surrender to the instruction and then we do that service. But knowing that we're not qualified, but we're just doing it as a service and empowered. And if we're doing it according to that instruction of the spiritual authority, then that mercy will be there to do that service perfectly. But the minute we think, I'm a manager, I'm a leader, then that ahankar comes, then it becomes a bit dangerous. And also, again, we've got to, because we're wearing that dress, the dress of a manager, the dress of so many different. So we've got to be careful. Just remember that we've got to upkeep very high standards, because again, you've taken that service, and many others will be looking up to you. The way you act, the way you talk, the way you speak, everything has to be exemplary, because that's part of that service. If not, so many people will become like Kali. So many followers were there, and they're being bewildered and led astray. So if there's so many followers following us, if we don't live up to that higher standard, then they may all also get cheated in that sense. So very high responsibility. I have no experience in that matter, but there looks like some leaders might be here. You yourself might be a leader, Prabhu. No. Anyone would like to share their experiences, or as a leader, how to
Hare Krishna. Yeah. It is very natural when we wear some dress, even when we wear little expensive dress, we get enamored. So we lose our consciousness, right? Consciousness we can lose. Like I remember like when I first time bought the bike and then driving the bike, then you become bike conscious. So this is very natural process. That's where Krishna consciousness will come. So in Krishna consciousness, we try to be in the consciousness of Krishna instead of any other consciousness, like manager conscious, servant conscious, that's conscious, this. No, we are Krishna conscious. So whoever you are, but you are just servant of Krishna. So this continuous instruction to our mind can help us. Otherwise, it's very, very easy to get enamored. Sometimes we get depressed. That is also as a kind of enamoredness, like you're feeling so depressed. Means you're identifying with something which is not you are. Instead of identifying with Krishna, we are identifying with something else. So that's why continuously we should be Krishna conscious. And when we say Kali's influence, because of the Kali's influence. So just I was thinking, Parikshit Maharaj did not kill Kali, but he put him somewhere, which in a useless place or wherever. So similarly, in our case also, we will have some anger, we'll have some lust, greed. All these things will be there within us. So we should find some place to keep them and hide them. They should not surface as much as possible. We should not let them surface. Then, to large extent, we may be saved from the effects of Kali. Continuously, we should shut him up. It's not that he is not there. He is there, but we are put him in some hidden place. So like that, it can help to some extent. And then, just like anything, everything will have some time. After that, it will die. Like if you keep a flower, maybe in a 2 days' time, it will be dried up. So similarly, the lust, greed, anger, pride, illusion, all these things will dry up, and we should have just patience. We should have patience until they are dry up. Until then, we should just hold them somewhere and that way we can be saved from the effect of Kali.
Thank you, Prabhu.
You can actually. I don't know.
The other.
So one more thing, it is mentioned in the purport that real Kshatriya will not surrender. So how to understand that? Because he acts on the guidance of the Brahmanas. So there he surrendered to the Brahmanas actually. So, but the surrender, can you just please go to that purport? A real Kshatriya never surrenders. Never surrenders. Never means it is, never means nowhere and everywhere, or
It's the sense that he doesn't surrender to another Kshatriya in a battle. When he's invited for a fight, he will not surrender. He will definitely fight the battle. So
yeah.
if you go further down,
Further down.
A real Kshatriya never surrenders. He accepts the challenge of his rival Kshatriya and he fights either to die.
Surrender is unknown to a real Kshatriya, here it is been said.
But it's in the context of a challenge of another Kshatriya. So
Not,
in one sense, actually it's explained like a Kshatriya will never surrender his principles of Dharma. That's another way of not surrendering. But in this context, it seems more like in the context of a war, when he's challenged by another Kshatriya, he will never. And that's what happened here. When he's challenged by Parikshit Maharaj, Kali, if he was a real Kshatriya, he would have fought till the end. Yeah. So not in that context. But definitely he's surrendered to the instructions of the Brahmana to rule this kingdom. But this is in the context of a war. And the other point Prabhu was making, that was a nice point. So these are all upadhis. There's so many designations that we get in devotional service. But then we don't forget that the pure devotional service is sarvapadi vinirmuktam tatparatve. So we want to add, the only upadhi we want is where the eternal servant Gopi Bhaktapada Kamaleva Dasana Dasana. So all these other designations, as Śrī Bhakti Swami Maharaj usually says, when it's time to go back to Godhead, Krishna is not going to see whether you're a temple commander, temple manager, this, head of that, head of this. He just wants to see whether you have love for Krishna. So you can be a sweeper in the temple with love for Krishna, and that's what Krishna sees, not these upadhis. But these upadhis are different services to please Krishna and the spiritual master. But we don't get too attached to that position or that upadhi. There's nothing else.
In this case, when Kali committed a sin,
Yes.
so he should have been punished by Parikshit Maharaj, but then he was spared because he surrendered.
Yes.
Then that's like using a loophole, right? So you just do anything and then just surrender. He won't be able to kill you.
Yes, that's true. But Kali, we understand that he actually really did surrender. He at least Bhagavatam tells us that he accepted that he was not a real king. He accepted Parikshit Maharaj's authority, and he surrendered, and Parikshit Maharaj gave him places to stay because he said, I have to remain in your kingdom. So in the future verses we'll see that Parikshit Maharaj said, yes, okay, you can reside in these 5 places. And yes.
It's like it didn't seem like he had the intention of surrendering, because like, of course, Parikshit Maharaj could not have been contaminated by it, but you can see in that case that through his crown he tried to force Vaishnav Maharaj into getting angry and thirsty like that. In that case, so like it didn't seem like he had any intention of surrendering.
Yes, yeah.
So
Nothing comes to mind immediately. Anyone would like to share something in this light? So your question was, what if he's not really surrendering?
so we can see that like if someone surrenders means okay, now from now on I'll be obedient. So it didn't seem like that because
Like not complete surrender.
he still was committing more things. He was just using
Conditions.
another loophole in the condition given.
Yes, but he was, I guess, within Parikshit Maharaj kingdom, so he had to, Parikshit Maharaj is the ideal king, has to give some field of activity for every living entity in his kingdom. So he had to give him those few places for him to conduct his activities. If I understood your question correctly.
It's like in cow killing, someone has to be, if you try to harm a cow, then they would directly be executed, right? Like if you harm a cow, normally you would be executed. Like Parikshit Maharaj is about to do that.
Yes, yeah.
So I get the point that Parikshit Maharaj spared him because of course there's so much that Kali Yuga has to start and everything. So he was not to be killed, but in normal cases that would be like a loophole, right?
A loophole that you can use. You do something and someone's about to beat you. Prabhu, please, I'm sorry, I surrender to you. Yeah. Nothing comes to mind immediately. Prabhu. Anyone? Any comments on that particular point? What if, yes, Prabhu?
Prabhuji, maybe when a criminal surrenders after a crime, they might reduce the sentence, but they might not completely like remove the sentence. So even in Kali, Parikshit Maharaj might have understood that this is his yuga which is coming, so I have to give him some space, and he knew that he will have to leave, so he gave him some space. Of course, he gave the 4 which were not there, so he thought that where will he stay anyways. But he finally gave gold that that at least there's one place for you to stay and you can continue your yoga, or else he will like ruin the cycle of Brahmaji also by maybe punishing Kali at that time.
Yeah, so that's ordained by Krishna already. I guess Prabhu's point was, yeah, what if that's like a loophole, easy to get out of things if you just do something and then just say, no, I surrender to you, Prabhu.
They might reduce the strength of the punishment when a
But
criminal
he still has to
surrenders,
suffer
maybe,
the-
but they won't like completely remove it.
Right, any other points, so we can end here? Okay. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai.
Śrī Rūpaṃ Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan